From St. Louis, Missouri, the murder capital of the country, it's Bottle and Cans. Today, the fellas discuss wine and give a general introduction to the show. Okay.
yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm in.
DJ Gellner, Sean, Gunnar, Jet Gunston, and Dr. Dave Johnson joining you here in studio.
Hello. Good to be here.
Great to have you.
Yeah.
As always.
It's exciting.
Yeah. First show is always a good one. Hopefully.
Well, sure, still out.
Not,
like 10 seconds in.
Introduction's not giving me a lot of confidence, but
Okay.
anyway.
Well, fair enough. So basically, what we're doing now is we're going to go ahead and pour out this wine.
What do we have today, DJ?
Today's selection is a 2005 Robert Nienow Cabernet Sauvignon from Napa, California. So,
Let's pour it out. Crack it.
crack it. You get it pouring.
It's pouring.
Okay. And
right.
salute, gentlemen.
Salute.
All right, let's try this.
All right, here we go.
That's
Here we
what
go.
got.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
Yeah. What was this again? What kind?
It's good. It's Robert Nienow's Cabernet Sauvignon. So
Cabs.
it should be really bold, especially since it's from Napa.
Yeah.
Napa's
Okay.
sort of the cab capital of the country.
Okay.
All right.
It's good. It's dry, but not like too dry. It's got a
Yeah.
sweet undertone to it.
Well, yeah.
Is that, am I using any kind of words that are correct there?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Actually, any of those words I just spewed out make any kind of sense.
basically what I am a student of wine.
Right.
I'm a bit of a wine
We
scholar.
we should actually tell the listeners that DJ is the expert here.
Yeah.
Dave and I are just along for the ride.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, they don't know shit about
I
wine.
know how to drink it.
And, well,
Well, yeah, that's true. I've seen that. I don't know anything about wine. I don't know how to drink it either.
Wow.
So-
Okay.
That's,
Okay. So you're
okay, so
new.
you take the stem of the glass in your hand, and
Okay, back up for a second. It's dude, the technical jargon is not going to do anybody any favors here. So.
Well, the stem is like the dick of the glass.
Okay.
Does that make
All
more
right.
sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I've
so
got
really
a visual.
grab it
Yeah.
like you
Well,
would.
of course.
Grab it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. I know this.
You bring the glass to your lips, and you open your lips, and you take the liquid in your mouth
Okay.
without.
You're
without
going to swallow it,
spilling
right?
obviously.
That's a fact.
Oh, of course.
All right. Anyway,
But yeah, so this is sort of a special wine. Any of you guys care to guess for the first episode how much this wine would cost at retail?
Well, actually, I know. We talked about this before the. We should leave that behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Should we,
behind the
okay,
curtain.
so I don't know. I should actually don't know.
I do not know
I don't
how
know.
much.
I
this
don't
Like
know.
costs.
if you're
Well-
just paying for it in a store, how
All
much
right.
would you pay?
Wait, so if I'm
for
basing it on taste, if I'm just going
I'm gonna
taste
say-
alone, I think it's a high 20, 25.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Hyde. Yeah, 25, 30.
Yeah, that's what I would go with.
Well, then I'm an asshole.
How much did you spend on the wine there, DJ?
it's a $50 bottle of wine, actually.
Wow, and you know what? It tastes a lot better now.
Yeah.
Notice those
Yeah.
undertones that you were
noticed-
ignoring before.
The undertones are really coming through now.
Yeah. No, one thing that I've come across in my studies is that all these guys that say that they can identify certain flavors in wine and whatnot, that's generally bullshit.
Okay, good to know.
Just because like people say, oh, tastes like blackberry, tastes like cherry, tastes like fucking licorice, and really, those people are all identifying the same flavor. So,
What do you mean? Like, wait, so they're confusing?
like they'll give the same like flavor, pure flavor to different people,
Okay.
and then the people name it. And like one will be, oh, it tastes like licorice, and another one will be, oh, that's cherry.
Okay.
Okay. Wait, okay, so for
What if
this...
it's cherry licorice?
Oh, that's a very good
That'd be
point.
tricky.
Yeah.
Can you? I'm not sure if you can do that.
No, yeah, that's not allowed.
I think you get your ass kicked by.
I think Twizzlers
other-
work this out.
Yeah.
Actually, I think they have a lot of technology behind this.
Well, I mean, maybe if you'd stop using it as a straw for
That's
the
true.
wine.
I should really spit this Twizzler out.
But so the wine that we're drinking, what are we supposed to be picking up then?
I mean, there should be some cherry, some licorice,
Okay.
some, you get some grapes in there.
I'm definitely tasting
the grapes for sure.
Yeah.
I'm really tasting
but
the grapes.
One thing you'll notice, and I apologize to our listeners, but one thing you notice if you tilt the wine in the glass, you don't see any sort of a white, clear border towards the edge, which generally means it's a fairly high quality.
Okay. Well, generally, I don't like to see white borders in any of the liquids I drink, or any kind of white stuff.
No, but see, I'm going to disagree with you.
Okay,
on
you
that
are.
one, Sean.
Okay.
White borders, I think.
What about a head on
that's true.
a freshly
Okay,
poured
well,
beer?
You got me there. I was trying to make a really dirty joke, and it just derailed. Thank you. Thanks,
Okay,
guys.
well, then.
Well, yeah.
Well, anyway,
Listen, I'm not
Do you
here.
have that crickets drop yet?
We really need to do that cricket strap. Listen, I'm not here for for my expertise in wine.
Well,
or
so-
drink, or anything really.
So if you don't see the white rim, what is there any kind of technical background to what you're seeing, what you're not seeing, that you can actually sort of extrapolate like, okay, that actually is high quality, or is that just
there's certain things they add to wine, chemicals like sulfur dioxide, whatever SO2 is.
okay.
I believe that's
Those type of things. That I mean, if it's a big batch, it's some
Wait, do
fucking shitty
they add
wine.
that after they've made it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a
It's a
preservative.
preservative.
Okay.
Now,
All right. Well, that sounds legit then.
Okay.
But
This one does not have it. Is what you're saying?
it doesn't have as much.
Okay, as much. Okay.
So all wines have SO2 in them.
Okay.
They all have sulfites, and it fucks with a lot of people's allergies, to be honest.
Okay. And just quick question: if you buy a more expensive bottle of wine and presumably it doesn't have the preservatives, does that mean that also the wine isn't going to keep as much or as long?
Not
so is that a
necessarily.
possible,
I mean, it's more sort of the variety of grape that you're using. That's sort of the difference.
Okay.
Like white should be drunk.
We've had this
Drunken?
discussion in the past. I've had this discussion with somebody. What is
Drunk?
the correct saying? I think it is drank.
Drank?
Right. That's the past tense of drink.
See, I'm going to disagree with
Okay.
you.
All right. Again, I'm not no expert over here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for
Why am I
fucking sure.
here? Why am I over here?
Well, anyway.
But whites should be drank while they're younger.
Okay.
And reds technically should keep till they're older, but I've had some older reds recently that just have turned to fucking vinegar already.
Okay.
So that'll happen over time. I mean, that's one of the reasons wine goes bad in restaurants. Like that's why they have you test it. Is like it actually turns to vinegar.
Right. So
the bottle.
So is there any reason to be kind of cautious if you're buying something that is more expensive with the possibility that you're buying something that's already past?
Yeah, how are you
its due date,
ensured that you're not going to get a
You
skunk
aren't.
bottle?
You have a 3% chance of any bottle of wine
I
that
like
you
those
buy
odds.
being skunked.
I like those odds.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Those
I
are
like
delicious odds.
Those odds are delicious.
But yeah. So really, you don't fucking know.
Okay.
You're,
All right.
You're playing Russian roulette. Here.
You insane, DJ?
Because
Yeah.
you have to drink it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No matter what.
Yes.
You gotta-
absolutely.
Pure vinegar
Yeah.
going down the hatch. Either way.
Go down the hatch.
It's a matter of principle. Anyway, so what else are we noticing about this particular wine then?
I mean, you just sort of the bold flavors.
Okay.
Cabernet is a very bold variety. It should sort of hit you in the mouth a little bit.
Okay.
With
I'm getting hit in the
Picking that
mouth.
up.
Now, you said something earlier about being allergic to sulfites.
Yeah.
Is that allergic a flush feeling in the face and a general lack of decision-making ability? Because I think I might be allergic to this wine.
Really?
Yeah.
Sure.
Like making...
Let's assume so.
Okay. All right.
That's a
Well,
scientific
Dr.
process.
Dave,
right
I mean,
I also
you-
may be allergic to most liquors and beers then. So I get the same reaction. Okay. Maybe we should...
let's
Maybe
get
we should
into-
discuss like what the format of this kind of show is going to be.
Yeah. So basically, we're going to crack a bottle of wine. I'm going to enlighten everybody a little bit,
As you did.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be a little more elegant next time and in the future.
We'll see.
I wouldn't count on that, but anyway, let's just move past that.
And then we're going to move from there, and we have a topic of the day that we're going to discuss. And, we'll work in various other segments over time. And the plan is to just entertain everybody.
Right. This is
all over the
literally
world.
everybody will be entertained.
This is everybody. This is the germ from which our entertainment will grow. Only grow.
Like a virus?
I didn't write that beforehand.
Cancer? Cancer to the podcast.
Yeah, this is basically what I'm saying is this podcast is a cancer. Yeah. So,
All right. Well, that's something.
yeah.
Anyway,
So okay, let's move back a step to sort of. I guess today's topic is going to be wine.
Okay.
okay, yeah, wine 101.
Wine
much.
101, yeah.
For episode 101.
Well, episode 1.
Okay. I thought we were only doing 999 episodes. Starting on 101. Okay, episode 1. Episode 1.
But yeah, so wine, it's fun to drink. Get you drunk. Does the trick.
Well, let me ask you this as a start. What? Me and Gunn, I would say I think I can speak for both of us when I say that
You always can.
neither of us neither of us are particularly into wine.
Right.
Okay, as some people take it as kind of high culture or whatever you want to call it. You of course have recently gotten into it. So what's the reason for that, if there is one?
Digging deep. I like
Well,
it.
I don't know. It all sort of goes back to my trip out to the Napa Valley about 3-4 years ago.
Okay.
And before that, I just generally thought, hey, you have 2 flavors of wine, red and white,
Right.
And just all the rest is snobby bullshit, which is partially true, actually, it turns out. But, just wanted to be able to differentiate between some of these different flavors. And once you get out there and you start like pairing it with food and breaking down not really the flavors like in terms of cherry and licorice and vanilla, but like
Are those the only 2 flavors that are out there? Cherry and liquor? I keep on realizing you keep going back to that.
tobacco,
Okay.
cumin, paprika.
Those are all flavors?
But breaking it down into like sweet, acidic, alcohol, tannin, that type of thing, becomes more of a game. And on that level, like you want to do as best at the game as you can.
Well, now, so is the game like, I go to a restaurant, I decide I want to order, some salmon or something like that, and
you order the bottle. You tell the waiter that it's shit. You spit in his face.
Okay,
and send it back.
All right.
That's the game.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, but so when you say this game, is it like, well, let's see how good I can pair the wine with, or if I'm looking for something really specific, how good am I at kind of predicting what it's going to be like?
So that's one way to look at it. Is just reading a wine list generally is a lot simpler than you'd think. Generally, you want to pair varietals with dishes, and I mean, one easy trick that's very really simple and that can get people through a lot of tough situations is that Pinot works with pretty much anything.
Okay.
Pinot Noir.
Okay. So when in doubt, go Pinot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
now I usually go with just the cheapest wine.
yeah, that's a good way to go.
Is that a good way to go? I feel like they really respect you when you just point to the list and say, "I'll have the $4 glass."
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, that's another aspect is, maybe you're out with a special lady or gentleman.
Yeah.
Gentleman of the evening.
Yeah.
We don't get judged on the bottle of cans.
You want to impress them. What I've noticed actually too is a lot of people go with the second cheapest bottle of wine. Like that's somehow better than going with just.
Well,
the
you can't go the cheapest,
one.
right? I mean, if you're trying to impress somebody, you just can't, right?
But what's so much better about going
well,
with
no,
the
I mean, I
second
agree. It makes no
cheapest?
sense at all. But
You'd be surprised how good the cheapest wine at Chevy's is, actually.
their house wine is good.
It is not bad.
Oh, it's a good little nugget.
Yes. Oh, yes. The Chevy is fresh red. 2008.
How much Chevy's fresh red?
Excellent choice, sir.
This will pair nicely with your tacos and bottomless chips and guacamole.
Yeah, I like to order the one taco. See, that's where you get ahead. You just get the chips and salsa on the table all night. Just order one taco.
Yeah, you're there with
Chevy Fresh Red.
You're there with your special lady. Do you like chips?
You guys gonna order? No, can we just get another thing of chips and salsa here?
Chips. We're still looking. We're still.
Bring on the Chevy Fresh Red.
You know, I'll just have the check. Actually,
anyway, so you are presented a lot of times with a long menu, and it's got usually where the location of the wine is from. It's got the type of wine. It's got a name. It's got a description. Oh, should we? While I'm at it, should we introduce our engineer real quick?
No.
Okay. All right. So. Anyway, so what do you do? What do you do when you're presented with such a long list of wine? Like, what are some tips? Some hot tips?
Well, first you go to the second cheapest wine in each category.
Okay, so we're at Chevy's.
You're asking for something that tastes like cherry and licorice,
Right?
Garçon.
Do you call him Garçon?
No.
Okay. All right.
But I should start
Unless that's his
doing
name.
that.
I don't think
Unless
that's
his
a name.
name is Garcon,
I don't
which
think that's a name.
that would be a cruel name to name your kid.
It really would be.
I mean,
But anyway, I need some tips because I like to impress the ladies.
right. Well, generally, the darker red you have, the better for like beef and pork. And
Well, how
that
do you
type
know
of thing.
that from the?
Well,
from
Cabernet's about as
Okay, so
dark
it's the
as you're
type.
going to get. That's
It's the type.
as heavy of a red as you're going to get.
Okay.
And something like Zinfandel, or even Pinot. You can go to Pinot with red meat or pork or even fish. And then generally, if everybody's having fish or poultry, you want to skew more towards the whites, even to a more acidic something like a Pinot Grigio or a Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay. So are you kind of making the general?
I mean, this is
rule
all,
of thumb that like if the continuum is from the whitest white to the darkest red, it's like it's basically the scale between between sort of light flavor to really strong flavor.
Yes,
that's a rough scale.
I've always been not so much light and strong as sweet and dry. I feel like the white wines are more sweet. Whereas is that true? Or the red wines are dry?
Generally the whiter whites are more acidic, and that's sort of why they pair
So
well
I've been
with
living a lie my entire life.
Like,
What you're saying.
Do not bring that up into Chevy's and expect
I
that
would.
to play. Okay?
I only go with Chevy's red.
Yeah, no, but I like you squeeze lemon on fish sometimes to give it seasoning.
Yeah, I've done
That's
that.
sort of the effect that a more acidic white has. On the
Okay,
fish.
all right.
Wow.
All right, it's making some sense.
That does make a lot of sense.
Occasionally, I'll hit one.
Yeah. You just want to end the podcast there?
all right,
I know, right
that's
there.
a wrap.
All right, let's wrap it up. Okay.
Well, anyway, so I think we talked about basically.
Then also the second part of the equation is you have to sort of have a sense for the geographic regions.
I was about to ask that.
Are conducive
I've heard some
to
regions are
certain
better than others.
varieties. Like Napa is Cabernet. Generally, you want to go for, or I mean California if you can. Generally, something like Shiraz. Australia's doing great stuff with Shirazes now.
Okay.
Malbecs, if you can get an Argentinian Malbec for cheap,
That's what I've
usually
heard.
Pretty good, and it's spicy enough to pair with a pretty robust steak too. Chardonnay, generally Napa, California.
Now we are located in St. Louis. What kind of wines is Missouri popular?
Missouri is popular for Chardonnay, which is a bastardization of the Chardonnay grape. It's a total abomination. Should have been destroyed long ago, but it's pretty good wine.
Okay.
But
Chardonnay, is that a combination of two words?
Chardonnay,
Yeah.
and I don't know what the L is.
Okay. Could be a lot of things.
But then also Norton is the red grape. that's
Oh,
sort of
yes.
out.
I remember
And-
drinking a lot of those.
And I don't know if we want to spoil the surprise right now, but we are planning a field trip at a later date to the wineries out in Augusta for the listeners, and we'll be reporting
I'm pretty
back
excited
on some
about
of
that.
these exotic varieties of wine.
I think we can also plan on going to Chevy's, too.
Yeah, I think that would actually... and we should have to order at least 2 or 3 bottles of the second...
First of all,
least expensive
we should also check to see if they even have wine. I really don't think they do.
I think they do.
Oh, they do.
Well,
He's the expert, Oak.
Okay. Not that I go to Chevy's.
Well, there's nothing wrong with our good folks at Chevy's.
Well,
Promotion? Yeah, that's true.
Right. Anyway,
anyway, so I think that you've taken us through kind of the pre-drinking phase
right,
of
sort
it.
of the foreplay.
Yeah,
wow.
Thank you. It's unnecessary,
but
now
let's go ahead and stick it in. What do you say? What do you say, fellas?
Put the wrap on and stick it in.
Whoa,
Just the tip.
whoa,
Just the tip first.
whoa.
I think
Too far?
before you drink any bottle of wine, you have to unwrap it.
Or just say you wrapped it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's dark. I only drink my wine when it's dark. Wait, what are we talking about?
Anyway,
Wine, of course.
Okay.
As far as the drinking process, do you buy into the I don't know, the tradition or the I don't know, kind of like that gesticulation of, smelling the cork or whatever it is that they do at a more high class quote unquote place.
Right.
So does that play into it as far as you're concerned?
Smelling the cork is pretty much bullshit. Generally, as far as I can tell.
What I like to do is I like to smell the fingers of the waitress. That's terrible.
That actually,
that's pretty bad.
That's a better way.
That's probably a better way.
Wine quality.
Well, it's probably a better way to determine restaurant quality. Actually, I've been in this situation where I go to one of those fancy restaurants. I'm often there on a hot date.
That's true.
Right.
You date a lot.
Definitely not there by myself.
That's true.
And they come out, they bring the wine out, they show the bottle, they pull the cork, they present you the cork, and then they'll pour a little bit into your glass as the gentleman.
You should swirl it.
Yeah, and then
you should smell it.
Okay.
If you're feeling really, really rambunctious, you can sort of
you'll tip it a little bit,
tilt it to the side.
Okay,
and
we're looking for that rim.
Water rim.
By the way, for the listeners, DJ is tipping his glass to the side so that you can see there's a nice ovaler
about 40,
surface.
45 degrees.
I'm not sure if oval is a
And
word.
what this also does is it increases the surface area of the wine that's exposed to air.
Okay, right.
So it oxygenates it. Yes.
So is that real? Is that a real thing?
That
to
is
do?
real, and that's part of the reason why you swirl it.
Okay.
To let the oxygen, what the oxygen does, the oxygen. The oxygen releases a lot of those flavors and aromas out of the wine.
Okay.
And now, so is the idea that to kind of go back to high school science class or something like that the aroma plays a big part in what you're tasting? Is that kind of the idea?
That's what they say.
Okay.
I think of myself as a much better taster than smeller.
I'm going to be honest with you, fellas. I'm a little stuffed up right now, and I'm still enjoying this wine quite a bit. And,
okay.
I don't think it's really affecting too much. I don't know if that's scientific at all. I'm just speaking.
Well, you are a scientist.
I am a scientist
by trade.
Shouldn't you know if it's fucking scientific?
That's a good point. I don't know how to answer that. But anyway, do you taste it? Do you take a little sip?
No, you just send it back untasted.
Untasted.
Well,
at least once to humiliate the waiter.
Really, what is this?
From what I've heard, really all you're looking for is if it's bad, if it's turned into the vinegar, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not really judging the wine.
Yeah,
you're just making sure that it tastes okay. It's okay.
I'll be goddamned. I've had over 100 bottles of wine in my life.
100 bottles.
I don't mean to brag,
Wow.
but
Wow.
But odds are that I should have had a bad one by now.
Right.
And other than like a really old one, I really haven't encountered something that's just awful.
Okay.
That said, I do drink a decent amount of wine while already blackout drunk.
That's true.
So
That's true. I've seen that.
I've seen it. I've been there. I had a first-hand seat.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it just doesn't taste that bad to me then.
Okay. That's a good point.
So you're saying that it's entirely possible that while drunk you've drank an entire bottle of vinegar.
Yeah.
Okay,
much.
just making sure that's what we're talking about here.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying.
I think last weekend I think I saw you drink an entire bottle of apple cider vinegar.
Yeah.
Just by itself. It was
Well, that's
vinegar.
just part of my health regimen.
Fat diet, drinking a half gallon of vinegar.
It was a half gallon.
Well, every day.
Part of a body cleanse or something.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I was pissing orange for a weekend.
And so, orange?
Yeah, it was weird to me.
That is weird.
too.
That doesn't seem scientifically correct, but what do I know?
Dr. Dave, is that normal?
Actually, it is normal.
Okay.
That's science.
By the way, listeners, Dave is really not a doctor. Don't take any of his medical advice to heart. Don't sue us.
He's close.
Well, yeah.
Close. He's looked at a few gross I've had. Anyway, so then after the whole presentation, because here's my thing with it. I've actually talked to a waitress about this. Well,
It's not Chevy.
Yeah, at what point?
It was in bed. It was poison. No, it was. I actually talked to her about, and so I was like, because usually what I do is I don't even stand on the presentation because I just say go ahead and pour it because I know it's going to be good. And I've talked to waitresses and they what they say is that the whole deal is just it's a presentation. It's like it's fireworks. It's not anything that's.
Well, I mean, if you want to take a 3% shot, that it's a shitty bottle of wine, and people are going to think that you're a piece of shit for suggesting it. I mean,
wow. Okay, well,
it's your reputation.
yeah, it is my reputation.
So it's this whole dance that you do with the restaurant or the waiters to just kind of show that.
That's what
Well,
I've
that's
heard.
generally after the dinner.
Well, that's
Okay. Okay.
well. I mean, that's
Can we
what
get a
I've
rim
heard.
shot?
Dave.
Drop?
Yeah.
We need a rim shot.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious about that one.
There should be a shot. Should be a shot you order at a bar. Can I get the rim job shot?
Can I get a rim job,
Can I get the
please?
rim job shot? Oh God.
Oh, goodness.
Anyway, yeah. So that's what
Okay.
I've heard. But I think now that I've had this enlightenment, I feel like now I should really.
Okay.
I mean, you should. I mean, I don't know. They're probably. It's not. I hate to use the term, but black and white. I mean, in terms of good or bad. I mean, certain wines, they age differently in the bottle,
Right.
and all that bullshit. So.
Well, I mean, I guess in fairness, you'd have to think that at least, kind of the letting it breathe, sort of, the taking in the
Is that
aroma
a Stone
sort of
song,
thing.
by the way?
Let it bleed.
Let it bleed.
Is
the
a Stones album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, can we get a drop for that?
Can we
Post production?
Can we
Anyway,
get a post production drop in there?
anyway, but the breathing and maybe the sipping and like the tilt and all that. I mean, I think in fairness, you could probably argue that you're kind of just gathering information, right? For maybe for future tasting and that sort of thing.
That's a good point.
It's not going to tell you one way or another.
I didn't
but
really
it's-
think of it
Yeah.
that way.
But it's
That's
just
a good
like,
point.
well, I've seen this before, and
Yeah.
I know what I like, that sort of thing.
That's
I
right.
think that
That's,
maybe that's fair.
That's part of the thing that they talk about with becoming a wine expert is you really need to sort of make it second nature in your mind.
Right.
Okay.
So
Like,
anyway,
I've seen this before. Like, what does it taste
Right.
like? Remember the taste. Remember what it looked like.
yeah, exactly. It all sort of ties together.
That's why I carry a notebook around with me all the time.
Take a note.
He does, and it is a huge notebook. It is a ledger. I would say it's a ledger.
Pretty much
It's got a quill and
yeah,
ink.
it's like one of those big
Yeah.
presentation
It
poster
really
board
is.
type.
It's a poster board.
Okay, well, so if you move on to the actual drinking of the wine, I mean, is it just straightforward? You just drink it at your leisure? Is there any any style to the drinking?
One thing that I found really brings out some of the flavors in the wine is you take your protein and you chew on some of your protein, and then you take a sip of wine and see how that sort of
How they
goes
mingle.
together.
The pair.
How they mingle in
'Cause
your mouth.
that's really the essence of the pairing.
How they get along.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, would it be fair to say that pairing a wine with, I guess, a protein of some kind, that's kind of the height of the wine experience? Is that what you're saying? That's what you're going for? That's the real goal that
I
you're
don't know.
going
What about
for?
just drinking wine by itself to
Yeah.
enjoy it by itself? Is that valid? Or is it
No,
just
absolutely not.
It's not valid.
Okay, let's move past that. It's,
Then I want to need some bacon
No,
or some kind of
you-
protein over
you,
here.
you can absolutely drink wine by itself. I
Enjoy
mean,
it with friends.
Yeah, with friends.
so,
much as we are.
So maybe it's just that the real height of the skill is how it's going to pair with a dish that you ordered. That's kind of the game that you were talking about. That if you really got it a tight game,
basic
then that's what you're going for. That's the touchdown that you
it is. It is the basic game. Yeah, I mean, if you're,
but what about recommending wine for certain events? Like if I was going to somebody's house, I don't know, for like, I don't know, just to get together, just to watch
a bat mitzvah.
A bat mitzvah. You know, something where the food, you know, or if I'm just like going to a dinner party, what kind of things should I look for when I'm buying a wine?
Well, if it's a dinner party, you should definitely ask what the protein is before you bring something.
Really? You think
absolutely?
That's, I mean, in all seriousness,
absolutely.
I've never asked.
Like,
what do we have? What are you serving? Because
I feel like it's a little
going to do my homework here.
Unless you're bringing, I think you got it laid online. What are you serving? Because I want to pair a nice wine with it.
Sure.
You're not going to say, what are you serving? And they say something and they're like,
I can't make it.
Anyway.
Because I get invited to a lot of dinner parties.
Right, exactly.
Potluck.
Just constantly.
Sort of thing,
but no, what about like something where food's not in there? That's what I'm trying to get at. Is like what is just a good general all-purpose kind of one? What do you like, right?
Yeah, I prefer sort of the bolder cabs.
Okay,
because that's sort of how I was born into wine, so to speak.
Okay,
you were born again,
baptized in the cabs.
Yeah, and I mean it's somewhat analogous to my situation, like. I really came into my own as a drinker in college on Key Light.
Keystone.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that is sort of like...
I'm familiar with this beverage.
I hate to say it, it's the gold standard. for cheap beers. Like, I can just drink it like it's water.
I thought you were going to say it's the gold standard for wine.
That too. I mean...
Okay. So when you go to the restaurant, you say, "I'll have the cab and a Keystone Light, so I can just compare what there too." Okay, so you just go with something you like. Maybe you go with something you want to introduce the host to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's sort of up to personal preference. I mean, certain people, like I actually can taste. My big deal is I can taste sulfur dioxide pretty readily.
Okay.
I don't like to have that in my wine.
Can you describe that taste?
Sure, it tastes kind of like burning matches, or like
that's
or like if you
definitely
put
not a cherry flavor.
Yeah, nor licorice.
The way I like to describe it is if you could put OxyClean on your tongue and leave it there.
It
adds a lingering aftertaste.
That's very specific.
Not that I've done that before, but.
So is that to say that again, it's just personal preference, or
it is on some level. Like certain people can taste alcohol better. That's what I was sort of trying to get at.
I like the taste of
certain
alcohol.
People can taste acid better. Certain people taste sugar a little more readily than others.
So
it does depend on what you've eaten earlier in the day as well.
Okay, fair.
So, like, if you ate like a dozen cupcakes before drinking some wine,
it's going to taste not as sweet.
Your sugar's not going to kick in as much.
Okay. So is this all to say that, let's say that you are heading to some kind of gathering and you're supposed to bring wine. There's no such thing as just like a slam dunk wine that is going to have kind of broad appeal, but it's also going to have a high level of enjoyment for kind of the average drinker. Is that? I mean it's just it's sort of it could be anything.
What I'd recommend if you're going to like a gathering, go for maybe a Napa Cab around $20 or an Oregon Pinot around $20. The Pinot especially should be pairable.
Okay, pretty uncontroversial, I guess, if you want to say it.
No, what I like to do.
But that sort of downplays the flavors in Pinot. I mean, that implies it's sort of bland.
Well, I mean,
wow, Dave, how dare you, sir?
I did not say that,
how
DJ.
How dare you?
Do not put words in my mouth. Do not put words in my mouth. Okay. No, but I mean, it's like if you were going to, a potluck or something like that. I mean, you could go to bat with, I don't know, like making a lasagna or something like that, right? Like everybody likes lasagna, right? I don't know.
Lasagna would be a good choice because there's cheese built into it, and cheese cuts some of the acidity. And
have you ever tried to make a lasagna?
Oh, I have.
It is very difficult.
It's a lot of steps to it.
There are a lot of steps to it.
It's a good dish, though.
I'm a fan.
Future podcast.
Really? Lasagna podcast?
Lasagna extravaganza. My mom made
yeah.
Oh, no, that's right.
True. That's true. Right. Yeah, if you're ever in St. Louis, stop by the Gellners for a lasagna at the Gellner's house.
Broadcast live from the Gellner's house.
What's the address again?
123 Fuck You Street.
That's not a real ad.
Well, it actually is.
No, it is. I swear to God.
It really is their address. Yeah.
Google that.
It really is their address.
It's an Indian term.
Yeah. It's an Indian term.
FUQUA Street.
Fuck run.
But so there isn't like a wine that you can just say like, look, this is good. Most people are going to like this, and everybody's going to be happy if I bring this to a general audience.
I generally think are people that picky?
No, they aren't.
Right? I think as you show up with something that's
that said, like if like close friends are having like a wedding party or something ahead of time, like to announce their engagement or something.
It's like a special event.
I've gone up to $30 or $40 on a Napa cab that has gotten high compliments.
Okay.
Very high class.
Okay,
I don't mean to brag.
Well, no.
You're bragging a little bit.
You're bragging a little bit. You're bragging a little bit.
All right, fine. I'm fucking bragging.
Okay, but I can see where you're coming from in that you want something that people will really enjoy, just not think, this is another. I don't know,
just run of the mill,
some
or getting too wild with like, I'm going to try this
right. Sangiovese from the foothills of Naples, or something.
Right, exactly. Like that. And because I'll speak for myself. Maybe this applies to Gun too, but. At the end of the day, if I go to the supermarket or something like that to pick up some wine, I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of it at this point. Right. I just don't have the know-how.
I'm going to be honest. Here's what I do. I get a nice. I pick my price level, and then I just go by a label that looks cool.
Okay,
that's basically what I do.
That's science. That's science.
I know.
Pretty much Mad Dog then.
I go Mad Dog most of the time. MD 2020.
Who's the lady like some
Mad Dog? Which color of Mad Dog is your favorite?
I like to go bright blue. Because it's fancy.
That's
true. Blue means fancy.
Yeah, blue mostly means fancy. You don't see a lot of blue wines,
That's true. Blue wine.
But antifreeze is blue.
That's true.
And so is rat poison.
Well, I don't think that's true.
Is that what you're going for?
I don't think rat poison is true.
Anyway, but okay. Well, I think you gave some some things that you can just kind of a foundation to start with, I guess, as far as a novice getting started, and something that's going to have broad appeal, that sort of thing.
Also, just in terms of drinking wine generally.
We should actually talk, because I do have quite. I don't have a lot of experience in choosing wine or actually any kind of know-how, but I have drunk my fair share of wine in the past. And I've always noticed that it gives you a little different drunkenness than other kind of beverages. It's a warmth, it's a homey feel.
It can make you sleepy.
Yeah,
but then again, not necessarily.
So
kind of, but not at all.
It must not make you sleepy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it normally makes you sleepy.
But they pass out after a sip.
God, you're like one of those kids that was over at Michael Jackson's.
Too late? Too late.
Too late.
Those jokes are all done. The jokes are all done. But no, it's definitely a different feeling. It sneaks up on you too.
Absolutely.
The percentage of wine is high.
Well, they try to keep it below 16% because above 16% you have to pay more in taxes because then it's considered hard alcohol. Yeah.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
Now,
I just learned something.
For what it's worth, are there wines that still do that? And are you able to say that you're still a wine?
What is a fortified wine? Wine. We should get some kind of drop for whenever my voice cracks.
There are wines that go over it, like certain ports, dessert wines, that type of thing. But that's why they cost like fucking $10 a glass at restaurants and shit.
Oh, interesting. Did not know that.
Okay.
And you're still allowed to. Is there any different term that you call that? Like, do you? Are you somehow maybe even legally required to call it something different if you go over that limit?
No, you're required to call it bourbon. It's called bourbon.
Call it the nectar of the gods.
Yeah, ambrosia. No, I've definitely had some experiences on wine.
Yeah, well, the worst is champagne.
That'll give
I don't care for champagne.
I've heard that a lot.
Oh my god, we my fraternity in college used to have a champagne event every term, pretty much.
What would that entail?
Basically, we emptied out all the garbage cans and filled them with ice, and just got about
a lot of champagne.
Yeah, maybe 40 cases of Andre.
Holy
that's a lot of champagne.
So you'd end up going through 3 or 4 bottles of Andre yourself over the course of a night.
What kind of hangover do you get after that?
Not too bad, to be honest. No, it was pretty devastating.
Yeah.
Just as a side note, did anyone ever break into the World Series celebration? Because I had one party like that. And, well, we had one every year, and a handful of guys would just do the World Series, champagne bath. Not a bad thing to do at least once in your life, by the way. But
get covered in champagne.
Yeah, I mean,
anyway, we should keep that in mind.
The three of us just pouring champagne on each other.
Babar, can we get 3 bottles of champagne in here instead?
Yeah. By the way, should we acknowledge?
Yeah, let's go ahead and acknowledge our engineer.
Babar?
Yeah,
our engineer Babar is over here listening on
dressed
headphones. Dressed in all gray,
as usual.
He loves peanuts.
He does.
Hence Babar.
He's a real person.
The elephant.
Thanks, Babar, by the way. You're doing a stellar job.
You're doing a great job, even though I can't hear the feedback right now. So
can you learn? Okay. I take that back. You're doing a shit job. By the way, we should, because I know a little bit about Champagne. Oh? Champagne isn't Champagne unless it's from Champagne region of France, right?
That's true. Somebody else has seen Wayne's World.
I've seen Wayne's World. And Wayne's World 2. Is that really Wayne's World?
Oh, yeah.
It's fantastic. Otherwise, it's sparkling wine.
Yeah. All right, Rob Lowe.
Anyway.
Oh, well, thank you.
No, I mean, there's by the way, for our listeners, Gunnar does look exactly like James Franco, pretty much.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
This is a compliment.
This is, is it?
Well, okay, maybe. Okay, fair enough.
I don't want to date this podcast, but after the Oscars, I mean, the press for Franco, not the best.
I thought he did a great job.
I thought he did too.
But it was pretty much because it was like I was watching you.
Well,
give the awards.
I was standing right in front of the TV, mimicking everything he was doing. So I can understand that. God, I got to return that tux.
So, I mean, there are a couple risks you run with wine. I would say the first that pops in my mind is the headache, either during the drinking or the hangover.
Yeah, it gets really bad.
You know what I think is the worst, actually, is, I don't know if you've ever, listeners, by the way, if you're eating, you should stop. Have you ever thrown up mostly wine after drinking?
Yes, I have done that.
The fuzzy feeling you get in your mouth is just awful.
It's just it's like a concentrated kind of thing. I don't, it's hard to
hard to describe. Yeah. It's like your teeth are wearing like Snuggies,
Okay.
Yeah, and
with the armholes.
Yeah, with the armholes. They each have an individual one on, and they're all leopard print. And it is a bad feeling. Oh, and wine stains, man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the tough thing about wine is that I think that. For me personally, you kind of get into a mentality where you think you can drink as much as beer.
That's true.
Yes.
But it
goes down smooth.
It goes down smooth, doesn't have that bite that kind of snaps you out of the illusion that you get with taking a shot or something like that.
Right.
And so you drink it pretty liberally, but you're obviously working with a higher alcohol content, and that gets you into trouble a lot easier than just taking back brews. So, I mean, I think that's a pitfall of drinking wine as your staple for that night.
Yeah.
So.
No, absolutely. I agree 100%.
I've definitely learned my lesson. I generally like to start out with a nice wine or have it for dinner or something like that.
So, kind of put a cap on how much you're having right from the get-go.
I definitely do.
Okay. Well, so anyway, I mean, I think that point is that wine, I don't know. It sneaks up on you. You know, I feel like you can get in over your head very quickly with it, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but when you throw in the fact that you can have these weird reactions to it depending on the day, that it's...
I don't know. I mean, what are you talking about?
Well, the headache,
that time of the month thing?
Well, the headache thing and the
cramps
and all this.
The cramps.
The cramping
Those
and the lower
cramps,
abdomen.
being a huge bitch.
Yeah.
Okay, this podcast is over.
Oh, he took off his headphones.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, I did it now.
I think...
All right, well, you want to talk about future...
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about
next week, whatever.
Yeah. I guess we should plug in the future. We're going to have outings like we discussed with the Missouri Vineyards.
Yeah, field trips.
Field trips.
If you want your wine, featured on the show, go to www.bottleandcanspodcast.com or bottlesandcanspodcast.com.
You should just plug one
because they're similar. Go to www.bottleandcanspodcast.com.
Yeah.
So for Gunner Jet, Dr. Dave Johnson, I'm DJ Gelner. This is just reminding y'all, zip it up.